Hello, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm designing a layout for Hip Kit Club. And I'm working with the gorgeous November 2021 kits, and today's main kit only, so I'll just be using items from the November main kit on this layout, which was really exciting for me because there is one patterned paper that you'll see in a minute. It's called Christmas Cheer, it's this one. I have had my eye on this paper since these kits were revealed. I absolutely love it. I'm a sucker for a starburst design or paper, so this one really sung to me when I saw it. And what I've done off camera is I've added loads of stitching to each of the coloured sections. So I've done it tone on tone, and I've pierced holes down each edge of each coloured kind of segment. And then I've crisscrossed embroidery thread all the way down the segments, and I did my holes slightly tighter and closer together in the centre, and then as I've gone out towards the outside edge of the page, the holes get further apart, so it kind of just means that the stitching is tighter in the middle and then more spread out as you get further out towards the edge. And I've done that tone on tone with embroidery floss, and I was really impressed that I had pretty much all the colours I needed to do this. There's just one of the blue sections I didn't have a light enough thread, so I've ended up having to use a darker one, but really love how this came out. It did take me a couple of hours, just sat in front of the telly. I think I watched Love Island Australia's on at the moment. It's my kind of guilty pleasure. So I've been watching that and doing this stitching off camera. I just absolutely love the texture that brings to the page. And now I'm cutting out each section individually, and I'm going to cut a slight bit off of each edge here. You can see I'm just trimming it down slightly and distressing the edges, and that's because when I rebuild it onto some white cardstock, I want to have a bit of a gap between each section, just where it's all kind of ruffled up and distressed, just to bring in a bit of texture and separation from each of those colours. I'm just taking some time to distress those edges, and then I'm going to get them popped back into place. And I was quite sad really that by doing this, because I'm going to have my photos in the centre where all the starbursts meet, it meant I lost the star, which I was really gutted about because I love the star in the centre of that page. And luckily I do have a second sheet of this, so I might have to do something else with it where I don't cover up that star. But for this one, sadly, I'm going to lose the star, and I'm not worrying about the white section. I'm going to lose that as well. So I've just got the coloured sections going around the outside edge of my page there. So I skipped through most of that for you. I'm just busy now getting my segments or starburst stuck back into place. And what I do with things like this is I stick the corner pieces first. So that red one at the bottom there, the dark red, the pink at the top, the lightest blue, and then that darkest blue, because they sit in the corner of the pages and you've kind of got two sort of edges to line up, just makes it easier to get those stuck into place first, and then I can fit the others in. And then I've just used my fingers to go around and curl those edges up a bit and just distress them a bit more, and that brings a bit more texture to the layout, and I love how that has turned out. So I'm just going to get to working on my photos now. I absolutely love these photos. They are of my little boy last December, and he loves baking. It's one of his favourite things to do, especially cracking eggs, which goes everywhere. I end up with eggshell in everything, but he really enjoys it. And so he's got his little apron on that says Star Baker, and he's baked some gingerbread men, and he was just sat at his little table decorating them with some icing, and it's something I do every Christmas with him and all year round really, because he just loves ginger. Anything ginger he loves, but especially at Christmas we like to make gingerbread men and gingerbread houses. So that's what my photos are. And I've just mounted them onto white cardstock first, just to give them a bit of separation. It also kind of ties in with those white gaps I've got in between each of the coloured starburst pieces. And I'm just using a couple of the papers from the main kit to add some colour behind them. You'll notice I peeled one off just then. I'm going to have them kind of tone on tone because I've got my stitching tone on tone. So the photo on the left, I wanted to use that kind of bluish green paper, and the photo on the right, I'm using one of the red pattern papers. And I'm just distressing those edges as well, and I'm going to have those, like I said, sat in the centre there over that star. And I'm going to raise them up onto with some foam, because I love to have my photos as kind of the focal point. So by raising them up on foam, it just keeps them kind of star of the page, if you like. So it just helps them pop a bit. So I always use foam behind my photos. And now I've got those stuck in place, I can work on embellishing. So I've fussy cut some flowers from one of the pattern papers in the main kit, and again I'm trying to stick to tone on tone where I can. So I've got some blue florals on the left and some red on the right. I've bought in a couple of the chipboard stickers, so I'm using the Holiday Fun as my title, and I've got that stuck underneath my photos. I've used one of the round chipboard pieces that says Holiday Baking, and that's pink, so I've stuck that over onto the right hand side. And now I'm going through the die cut pack that comes in the main kit, and again looking for things that kind of relate to baking or loosely relate to baking, and that I can use kind of tone on tone. So I've pulled out a nutcracker. I love nutcrackers, but he matches the colours in my photos really well, so I've popped him over on the left. I've also got a blue little gingerbread house and a blue cupcake, and then over on the right I've got a couple of flowers, and then I've got a red and pink gingerbread house, and then a red and pink cupcake as well. So trying to stick to tone on tone where I can. The only thing that's kind of not tone on tone is where I've got my title, and just before the word holiday there's a pink flower, but I wasn't about to cut that off because I love how it looks, so that one I can just excuse. But everything else where I can, I've got it tone on tone. And I'm raising some bits up on foam just for a bit of dimension, and so that I can kind of slot them in nicely and just build a couple of clusters there either side of my photos. So I love how this is looking, and it came together really quick. Once I'd got that stitching out of the way, that was kind of a labour of love, but the rest of it came together super fast, which is always really good. And you also get some enamel dots in the main kit. These are gorgeous. They are silver and glittery, so great for adding a bit of sparkle. And I'm using 3 different sizes, so it kind of tapers off from largest going down to smallest. And then I'm going to add some journaling on that white space. So I've purposely left this blank so that I can pop some journaling there. Now I'm not usually one for journaling on my pages, but sometimes I do like to get a little bit on. If it's not on the front of my page, it's always on the back. But because I had that white space there, it was just perfect to add a few lines in about my photos. So I'm almost finished here. I'm just going to finish my layout off with some splatters, and I'm using white gesso which I've watered down, and I'm just going to add splatters all the way around over my embellishment clusters and those starburst coloured segments. And I'm also going to do the same with some silver paint as well, because you'll see in the close-ups the little die cuts that you get in this kit have got little touches of silver foiling on them, and they are super pretty. And I've also obviously got those silver enamel dots as well, so I thought that the silver paint would work really nicely with that. So just adding that on now, and then that will be me finished. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this layout and it's given you some inspiration in using your November 21 main kit. Don't forget, if you are a Hip Kit subscriber, you get a discount on all additional kits. You also get access to subscriber exclusive cut files, and the November ones are stunning, so do look out for those if you are a subscriber. But thanks again for joining me. I'll leave some links in the description box below to the November kits, and I'll see you next time.